With the first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select DeAndre Ayton from Nassau, Bahamas, and the University of Arizona.
Ayton going ahead of Marvin Bagley III, and he is the 9th straight freshman to go #1 overall and the first Arizona Wildcat to be selected with the top overall pick in the draft. Ayton said during the lead up to the draft, you see his coach at Arizona, Sean Miller, that he knew he was going to go #1. He sold the Suns, and now he's the first overall pick in the draft.
And rightfully so, Reese. He is the prototypical big man in today's NBA. 7'1". He's got a 7'5" wingspan. And by the way, in Vegas, the over-under for my saying wingspan is 4.5. Take the over and tip it back, America. But he's a fluid athlete with great footwork. He's a freak athlete in addition to being a fluid one, but a physical specimen that is broad-shouldered. He is big and strong, and it seems like it takes big guys years to put on that kind of frame, and he's got it coming into the NBA. But he is a complete offensive player. He can rebound. He's very good in the post. He's got excellent footwork with his back to the basket. You can see him spinning to the rim there. And he can face up, and he's got a very nice jump shot, and I think he can stretch that out even further. Any rebound he wants, he can get, and he can tip it and keep it alive and tip it to himself. He's got a second and third jump. He's also a good shooter from the free throw line. 75%, an excellent shooting stroke, and he can pass out of the post. A really, really good player.
And here's the guy who he reminds me of, Joel Embiid. He can take you out to the mid-post area. He can go back to the basket. He's very agile, and as Jay said, the complete offensive game. But not only that, he affects the other side of the basketball court. He's a rim protector and can guard in pick and rolls. I see a lot of promise in this young man.
With the second pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Marvin Bagley III from Duke University.
Marvin Bagley III, who averaged 21 and 11 for Duke. I'll get our research guys on this. When's the last time that we had former high school teammates go 1-2 in the NBA Draft? Ayton and Bagley played together for a year in Phoenix, and Bagley didn't shy away from working out with Sacramento, and now he hopes to be a cornerstone of that franchise as he makes his way up to be greeted by Adam Silver as we take a look at one of the Mountain Dew Kickstart Rising Stars, Marvin Bagley III.
The first thing that sticks out about Marvin Bagley III is how hard he plays. He never takes a play off. He has elite size and athleticism, and this guy can really run. He is really productive, especially on the offensive end. The best offensive big guy in this draft, and most of his play is instinctive. He is explosive off the floor, and talk about a second and third jump. His second and third jump is the best I have seen since I've been doing this. And talk about running the floor. He is a transition big guy that can really change ends. A productive rebounder, averages almost 12 rebounds per game, 4 of them on the offensive end. A left-hand dominant player, really the only concern you have about Marvin Bagley III. He's not a great defensive player, at least not yet. Will he block shots? Will he get steals? I think he can. He hasn't yet.
Here's a guy he reminds me of, Chris Bosh. Left-handed player, Chris Bosh had every move in the book. Very, very good 15, 17 foot, and even increased to three-point land, being able to shoot the basketball, but his motor, and I love how hard he plays, and that's why he's going to have a phenomenal rookie season.
Well, you get the feeling that this is exactly what Sacramento wanted in that second spot. Didn't waste any time getting the pick in.
With the third pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Luka Doncic from Ljubljana, Slovenia, and Real Madrid.
Man, it has been quite a couple of days for Luka Doncic. We saw him hugging his mother there. As Trae Young now sits and waits. We expect from what Woj just told us that Luka will be on his way to Dallas in the heir apparent as the franchise cornerstone after Dirk Nowitzki. As Woj pointed out, his contingent on Trae Young still being there and ultimately winding up with the Hawks. But this player is a guy internationally who is as proven and as scouted as any international player we've had. NBA draft expert and scout extraordinaire Mike Schmitz is with us. You believe Luka should have been the #1 overall pick, Mike?
To me, Luka Doncic is the best basketball player in this draft, the childhood prodigy who's lived up to the hype. Has a perfect game suited for the modern NBA. 6'8", 230 pounds. His game really pops in transition. Now, he's not a Ben Simmons caliber athlete, but there's that same type of excitement when he attacks the defensive rebound and pushes in the open floor. In the half court, he's a tactician in pick and roll. He's outstanding using both sides of the floor, extremely creative with his deliveries. To me, he's the best passer in this draft. We haven't seen a guard who can pass the ball out of ball screens like him in quite some time. Then he's a fearless shot maker. I was at this game in Belgrade, game on the line, late clock, game-winning pull-up three. He's fearless. He creates space with step backs going left, going right. He's a big-time shot maker, has no fear. And we haven't seen a prospect like Luka Doncic at 19 years old, EuroLeague MVP, ACB MVP. To me, this is an absolute steal for the Dallas Mavericks.
With the 4th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State University.
The Big Ten freshman and defensive player of the year in his lone season with Tom Izzo and the Spartans. His dad was a longtime NBA player, won a championship with the Spurs. His mom is director of player ops at WNBA. As you see Mikal Bridges, his teammate at Michigan State. We'll hear his name called a little bit later on tonight. But Jaren Jackson, big guy, shooting touch, do a lot of things, a modern big in the NBA.
And he's only going to get better, Reese. You referenced it. He's the youngest big guy in this draft. He's got long arms. He's got huge hands. He may be the best overall defender in this draft when you take into account shot blocking, rim protecting, and his ability to get out and guard pick and rolls. He can guard 1 through 5 for at least a couple of dribbles, and he's only going to get better. He can knock down shots to three-point range. He's got this standstill set shot. But I think you're looking at a player, I agree with Woj. He's got a chance to be as good as anybody in this draft. He's a very good shooter. He made 38 threes this year from deep. He shot over 40% from three. It's a little set shot, but when he gets his feet set, he knocks it down with regularity. And he made just about 80% of his free throws. And he is an excellent shot blocker with terrific mobility. Per 40 minutes, he blocked 5.5 shots per game. Now, that also went with 6 fouls per 40 minutes, so he's got to clean that up a little bit. But he's a guy that's got upside in the post. He plays with his back to the basket. That is not yet the best part of his game, but he's going to get better and better there as well. He can shoot. He can knock down free throws. He's going to be a really good player.
And here's a guy who he reminds me of a little bit, Joakim Noah. I think he's much better offensively. Obviously, he shoots the jumper better than Joakim does. But the way that he competes on the defensive end, he's competitive on both ends, runs the floor extremely well, high-level finisher around the rim. Reminds me a lot of Joakim.
Jaren Jackson Jr. on his way to Memphis.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Trae Young from the University of Oklahoma.
In the days leading up to the draft, the guy who was a sensation in college basketball last year, some said would be slipping. Concerns about his size, concerns about his defense. He said it was up to him to change that narrative about whether he defended anyone. Let me tell you, this dude put up offense on everybody with 27 points and nearly 9 assists to lead the nation in both categories. Woj, you got some more details on this proposed deal with the Mavericks and the Hawks?
Yeah, Reese, the Hawks general manager, Travis Schlenk, has coveted Trae Young throughout the entire season. Schlenk came from the Golden State Warriors, worked in their front office. He was there when they drafted Steph Curry, and Curry became a two-time MVP. Now, he's not sure that he's got Steph Curry here, but he absolutely got a player he believes will be a star for the Hawks. And I think right now for them, this was the best case scenario in the draft, because not only does he get a player he wanted greatly in Young, he gets a first-round pick from Dallas next year. And this is a draft where Atlanta's got 3 first-round picks.
Now here's the proposed trade. The Hawks expected to get Trae Young in that first rounder next year, though it will be protected. The Mavericks get the guy they believe will be their future in Luka Doncic. Now let's talk about Trae Young, who led the nation in scoring and assists.
Well, Trae Young is a prolific scorer. You talk about shooting range. I mean, he can really shoot it. An elite scorer with logo range. When he comes across half court, you leave him open, he will shoot it from 30-plus feet and make it. Very, very good with the ball. Very good in pick and roll situations. Genius level in reading pick and rolls. He's an excellent handler and creator. He's very crafty. He can split defenders. He can snake pick and rolls. 10 assists per 40 minutes, and it's not like he played with an unbelievable cast of characters that could really make shots, but his shooting range really sets him apart. I mean, you can see how good he is with the ball, but if you have a hand down, he's going to put that thing up from 30 feet. And when he takes good shots, he is very, very efficient. He just lacks size, and he's not a good defender.
Yes, I mean, we all have to say it. I mean, he has a lot of Steph Curry in his game. Very crafty, keeps you guessing, changes speeds with his offensive tempo, can make every shot, floaters, three-point shots. And one thing he does very well that nobody talks about, he passes with the left hand off of the dribble better than anybody I've seen in college.
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Mohamed Bamba from the University of Texas.
Mo Bamba, the native of Harlem, will have the longest wingspan in the NBA next year at 7 feet and 10 inches. He's been working with workout guru Drew Hanlon to try to improve his perimeter shot. A very astute guy. Talked about noticing how some bigs weren't on the floor at the end of playoff games, and he wants to be able to do that. Mo Bamba, a defensive presence for sure right out of the gate.
Did you just reference his 7'9" wingspan?
7'10".
Yeah, stay in your lane, Reese Davis. That is my territory. I get credit in Vegas for that wingspan.
Have you copyrighted that term?
He's got 2 NBA skills right now that translate immediately. He's a big-time shot blocker, and he's an excellent rebounder that's got great length. Really, what you could compare him to is a young Rudy Gobert with better offense than Gobert had when he came into the NBA. He gets 14 rebounds per 40 minutes, 3.2 offensive rebounds. He blocks about 4 shots per game. He's really getting better on the offensive end. He doesn't have much of a post game. He plays a little bit too straight up and down, and he can be moved off the block because he's not as strong lower base-wise as he needs to be. But his coach Shaka Smart did a great thing with him in practice. They would do a great job of pick and pop. So he did a lot of that in practice where he would shoot the ball, and he really does run extraordinarily well. He's an excellent athlete. His frame doesn't look all that strong, but he has worked on his strength, and he will continue to get stronger, and he's retooled that shot. But with his length and athleticism, he's going to be really good.
Jay, did you just say stay in your lane?
Yes.
You just told my guy, Reese, to stay in his lane, and then you told everybody who I was going to pick as his comp. Rudy Gobert. I love this guy. I see Mo Bamba just like I see Rudy Gobert, but like you said, a better offensive skill set. I'm very, very happy for this kid. Ultra, uber smart, and I think Coach Clifford is going to have a good time coaching him.
We have an early trade to announce. The Atlanta Hawks trade the draft rights to Luka Doncic, the 3rd pick, to the Dallas Mavericks for the draft rights to Trae Young, the 5th pick, and a future first-round pick. And now, with the 7th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke University.
A versatile big man from the Blue Devils, make it the 3rd time that a pair of Blue Devils taken in the top 10. Jahlil Okafor and Justice Winslow did it in 2015. Our buddy Jay Williams and Mike Dunleavy back in 2002. Both in the top 10. And Wendell Carter Jr., who chose to go to Duke over going to Harvard, a bright guy. He was terrific this season and really accepted his role once Marvin Bagley III reclassified and joined Duke this year. So a couple of Blue Devils going, and this seems to be a really smart pick from Chicago, taking Wendell Carter Jr.
I would not differ with that at all. Wendell Carter Jr. is an absolute workhorse. He is strong. He is an outstanding rebounder that always goes after the ball with both hands. He's a two-handed rebounder. In the post, he's effective over either shoulder. He's got a very smooth shooting stroke. He shoots 74% from the free throw line and can step away and knock down a perimeter jumper. Very good with his back to the basket. Excellent feet, especially early on. He's got a turnaround jumper, jump hook, and a very smooth shooting stroke that will only get more fluid as time goes on. Is not the most explosive player inside. He certainly is not as explosive as DeAndre Ayton or Marvin Bagley III, but he is really, really strong, and he's tough to move around. Maybe a little bit of a question mark as to how mobile he is as a pick-and-roll defender. His conditioning got better as the season went along, but he can block shots, and he reminds you a little bit of Al Horford in the way he plays, a young Al Horford. But I really like Wendell Carter Jr. I think he's got a tremendous future ahead of him.
Jay, I agree with you. I do see a lot of Al Horford in him, but I'm going with another Blue Devil, and that's Carlos Boozer, a guy who's very physical on both ends, doesn't shy away from any of that. Makes a lot of non-stat sheet hustle plays that you love to be on the team with. And I just love who took them. I love what they're putting together there. I like their backcourt with Dunn and Levine. And these two big guys, him and Markkanen, are going to play very well together.
With the 8th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Colin Sexton from the University of Alabama.
Avery Johnson all smiles as his star guard goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Colin Sexton had one sensational season at Alabama. Helped the Crimson Tide win his first NCAA tournament game since 2006. He is extraordinarily tough and competitive. And he's the guy who raised the energy every time he stepped on the floor. And now he'll have to take that type of energy to the Cavaliers.
Well, Colin Sexton, Reese, is an aggressive, ball-dominant point guard, and you called it. He's a fierce competitor. I think he may be the most competitive player in this entire draft. He is quick. He is explosive. He is incredibly fast in the open court. When he gets downhill in transition, he is just an absolute blur. His jump shot is not quite there yet, but he's got a good middle game, and his jump shot is really improving. And he shoots 78% from the free throw line, which is a pretty good indicator that he's got the ability to get much better as a shooter. Changes speeds very well. He's got an excellent burst with the basketball, and he's very good with the basketball in his hands. A good defender. He's active for steals. He has good anticipation. Then you can see just in that highlight his open court ability. And if a 3-on-5 game breaks out, I'm taking Colin Sexton. In this building, he went 3-on-5 against Minnesota, scored 40, and almost won the game just about single-handedly. Talked about his transition ability. He's a worker. He competes, he attacks, and he's a fighter. That may be his best attribute. He will fight you start to finish.
I'll tell you a guy I had the pleasure of playing with when I was with the Clippers that he reminds me of, and that's Eric Bledsoe. Very athletic, very, very good defender. You can't keep him out of the paint. He's worked on his jump shot. He can make it from mid-range, even threes now. And I see a lot of Eric Bledsoe in Colin Sexton.
And Colin Sexton going to the Cavaliers.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Kevin Knox from the University of Kentucky.
Oh, no. Oh, this is now guaranteed that Kevin Knox is going to have an all-star NBA career because the Porzingis dudes are going thumbs down. I think now they may be trying. That may just be a good luck move now.
I think it's wishful, wishful thinking. That's what they're doing. Reverse psychology.
Calipari said the teams that passed on Kevin Knox in a couple of years might regret it. He compared him to Jason Tatum in terms of the way he can mature and get better. You know, his dad was a football player. Kevin was a quarterback his freshman year. In his first play, he was sacked and decided basketball was for him.
He's very talented, Reese. He's 6'9", Kevin Knox is. He's got a 6'11", 7-foot wingspan. He's long, he's athletic, and he is a scorer. And he's an NBA caliber shooter that can pull up off the dribble. He moves very well without the ball, and he's got a really good feel from mid-range. He is an effortless shooter, even though this year he was a little bit streaky throughout the year. Shoots close to 80% from the free throw line. He was a high school quarterback in football, but you know, I think I flipped on him completely. I thought he was a little bit sleepy earlier in the year, but he had 34 against West Virginia, was a superstar. That's when I said he's the man. He's really good.
Reminds me of one of the young, really good players in our league today, Tobias Harris. Can do it all. Long, athletic body, a great set of natural tools, can shoot it out to the three-point line, and to me, if he wants to, can be, you know, very high. And I love his maturity on the floor for his age.
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Mikal Bridges from Villanova University.
There's some Sixer fans in the house. Saw Mikal's mom, Tanisha Rivers, who was fired up about this pick. Since 2008, Dante DiVincenzo, his college teammate, awaiting to hear his name called. Since 2008, Bridges is the 9th four-year college player to make it into the top 10. He continually improved. He was a third-team All-American last year, as Jay mentioned, a two-time national champion, and comes out of the culture, Jay, that you have referred to as the best in college basketball and one that would seemingly really prepare you for pro life.
Oh, he is absolutely prepared, and this is a first for Villanova basketball. This is the first time that a Villanova player has worn a nicer and more expensive suit than Jay Wright. But Mikal Bridges is a 3-and-D player. He led the all Power 5 players in efficiency this last season, an excellent perimeter shooter. He's got a high release. As a catch-and-shoot guy, one of the best in the country, but he sets himself apart as a defender and as a transition player. Mentioned his spot-up shooting, his catch-and-shoot. He made 104 threes this last year, but 95% of those were assisted, so he spots up very well. Excellent wingspan that helps make him a good defender, 7'2" wingspan, so he can guard 1 through 3. But he's not the type of player that's going to get his own shot. He's a blender that's going to fit in with other really good players. But he proved last year he can continue to get better. I really like him, especially as a person. Terrific teammate.
Jay, I'm a fan too. He reminds me a lot of Nicholas Batum. Can pretty much do it all. He defends. He can go to the basket. He can finish. Knock down the standstill jump shot, like you said. He's long. He's athletic. Don't mind taking on tough offensive players. And I think that's what they need because they're losing a lot on the wing there with Philadelphia.
So Mikal Bridges stays close to home, sensational career.